Kevin, it's great to see your face, man. Now, you just literally came off of working on a movie. You got home about an hour ago. What have you been working on right now?
Well, the one I'm doing right now is called Another Life. It's a true story about this guy that was a mortician and became a comedian. I don't think he can get two further job descriptions from anywhere. But an amazing guy, amazing story. And I still have a couple more days on it, but they ran into some problems with technical problems on there and camera equipment stuff. So we lost about 5-6 days of shooting. So I'm gonna have to go back, which is kind of a drag because I'm pretty booked up right now. I've got 2 of the movies coming out this fall. One I directed called Miracle in East Texas. The other one, that one's a true story set in 1930.
Yes.
The largest oil find in the history of the world. It's got a lot of comedy to it as well. It's a good family movie. It's got a PG rating. The other one is a Reagan movie of Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid plays the president. I plays pastor in it.
Wow.
And then I got 4 other movies I shot over the last year that'll come out sometime this year or next year. I don't know when, but like I said, Sorbo Studios is a great place to go.
Well, you know what? A lot of people don't know that you're also a director, and that's very exciting too. You know, at the bottom of the screen, when you watch this broadcast, folks, you're going to see KevinSorbo's KevinSorboStudios.com. And of course, right now, as we're Facebook Live, you know, I'm watching this. Sometimes people will pop in with a question. I know people are thrilled to see you and to see all that you've been doing, Kevin. You know,
You said you're on Facebook. Facebook took me down 2 years ago for posting the truth. Zuckerberg and his minions don't like the truth, and
right.
It's too bad because I had millions of followers, and I know some people said, "What happened to you? You disappeared." Well, Zuckerberg took me down. It's funny because the things I was saying during the heat of the COVID moment,
right.
All those things now, of course, have become true that I said. All my conspiracy theories, I need more because all mine keep coming true. So you can follow me on Twitter. If they go to KSorbs, KSORBS, I post very funny, sarcastic truths, pretty much like what Babylon B does, and that's what I do. And you know, there's people out there that don't like humor and they don't like the truth. So I'm not going to stop doing either of those things.
Of course not. You know, when I interviewed Shemaine the other day, she was banned from Twitter. You know, but for some reason, I guess I'm not big enough to be banned yet from Zuckerberg. So anytime you want to talk to your fans on Facebook, you just let me know. I'll absolutely be honored. But, you know, Kevin, the Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, you could be watching the evening news right now and see the trailer of that movie with the digital surveillance currency that Biden signed as an executive order in 2022. Most people don't know about that. He did that on March 9th. Many would say would be the most treasonous act of any sitting president of quote unquote Biden bucks, a digital surveillance dollars combined with a China-based social credit system that can turn off your buying power anytime they don't agree with who you support or what you say. And of course, you know, today's conspiracy theorist is tomorrow's journalist, you know, because they're all coming true. But this Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, oh my gosh, man. I mean, could it be more right on than what it is right now? Tell us about that.
Well, the Left Behind team, they're based out of Toronto. They own the rights to the books for the last like 35 years. They worked with Kirk Cameron originally back in 2000, 2001. Right. The most recent movie before this one was with Nicolas Cage back in 2014. So this is the next chapter. This is 6 months now after the rapture. For those who do know the book but don't know the books, the Left Behind book sold over 80 million copies back in the 90s. Right. And I play Rayford Steele, the pilot in the movie. And this really deals with 6 months after the rapture, where hundreds of millions of people have virtually disappeared from the face of the earth. And you know, the writers did a great job. They brought it into modern day. They brought it into what's happening to the world today, because a lot has changed from the 90s, obviously. And so there's a lot of humor in there, but it's like a political thriller at the same time. Right. And I love, you know, what you said. I love what they brought to make it. The newscast deal exactly with the stuff we're hearing now. Exactly, the government's using fear to control people's lives. Right. There's a great bit by Buck, the reporter, played by Greg Perot, and he says, "Don't rush to get any vanishing vaccine anytime soon." Sort of a dig at the whole COVID thing, because you know you see what's going on with all these people with, you know, the 800% rise in heart attacks and deaths and people under the age of 35. Right. And no one's talking about that, are they? You You got to
No.
be quiet about that. It's crazy how fear-filled the world is right now. And I'm here to wake up the lions. I need the people not to be afraid to step out. I mean, Hollywood booted me out 12 years ago. I'm probably the first cancel culture victim in Hollywood for speaking a different sort of tune than Hollywood does. And it's probably worse being a Christian in Hollywood than it is being a conservative, but being both makes me a double leper, apparently. But, you know, I love the business. I don't love the politics of it. And I wanted to keep making movies. So I've shot over 60 movies since Hollywood booted me out. I'm doing just fine, but it's sad to me, you know, because I don't harbor that anger and that hate that the left seems to have for anybody who has a different point of view. And that's brought about by what Hollywood does in their movies and TV. It's brought about by the mainstream media, which is over 90% of the media in America.
Right.
And this country isn't America anymore. We're a whole different country. We are not this country was built on individuals, not big government. And everything now that our government has done is opposite of what our forefathers wanted to do. And I tell people all the time, you know, we started a Revolutionary War back in 1776, and it was against the British monarchy. Well, our government today is doing worse things to its own people than the British were doing 250 years ago. So people need to wake up and fight back, because it is sad what's happening to America. If you all think out there think socialism and communism is great, please move to North Korea, Venezuela. Nobody's taking boats from Key West to Cuba, and there's a reason for that. But maybe you all, people that think that socialism is so great, you need to move to countries like that and find out what it's really like. Come back in a year and let me know how amazing your utopia is, because they're brainwashed. They don't deal with facts or logic. They just deal with little sound bites that they hear from the media. You know, oh, you're a racist. You're a trans. How am I a racist? Tell me how I'm a racist. They can't say it. They just love saying those words because all they have is labels, because their education level doesn't go any beyond that.
Well, you're absolutely right. And you know, of course, you know, when our nation's enemies are funding the mainstream media and they're lining the pockets of these politicians, you know,
George Soros, he funds BLM, he funds Antifa.
Sure does.
You know, I mean, how do we let people like Antifa walk down streets and attack people with baseball bats and tire irons and blow up cop cars and destroy people's buildings, and they don't get arrested? Well, Donald Trump pays off some woman 7-8 years ago, and now they're trying to put him in jail for that. It's so weird. We're releasing rapists back on the streets. We're releasing criminals back on the streets. We're making major crimes now misdemeanors and say, just don't do it again. Give a slap on the wrist. It is crazy about what we're doing right now, and people just, I don't know what's going on. I think so many people just are so frustrated with the way their lives are going. They're just jumping on that insane bandwagon, and it's really sad what we're doing to America right now, and people around the world are laughing at us.
They are. And you know what, when I go overseas, Kevin, people say the same thing. Your media lies to you. Your media lie. You know, when I was in Paris, every kind of race you can think of, but at that time, even when there was some unrest, people were ebbing and moving and working together beautifully at that time, you know, and they look at us and think, my gosh, you know, and by the way, nobody I run to from Egypt to Paris, no one that I talk to ever believes that this Weekend at Bernie's puppet master, you know, or I should say puppet in Obama's third term, no one believes Biden's president legitimately. Overseas. They laugh at us. But over here, people need to understand that the minority is running the show, you know, and it's, oh my gosh, you know,
if we had a Republican in office right now doing half the stuff that Biden has been doing, the press would be just going after it. Why the press keeps lifting this guy up and protecting the things that he does and the things that he says is just, it's proof in the pudding right there of how crazy we have become politically in this country.
Well, you know what? It's no accident that you are doing what you're doing. Media is the most powerful force right now, influencing the masses. And here you are, you're ahead of the game with the movies that you're doing. You know, the fearless stance that you have taken for the country and for believers. I mean, I really am very inspired. You and also a mutual friend, John Schneider, you know, just a fearless stance. I'm ready to see a new movie with you two together as well. But speaking of co-stars, you know, Neil and Corbin, it's good to see their faces and the stance that they're taking as well. And may I tell you what, you know, Neil's been in the media lately as well for refusing to do certain kinds of scenes, even in secular movies. And people are taking notice of this fearless stance you're taking and the courage that you're doing as well. It's also good to see Corbin's face as well. He's been doing some films. What was it like working with those two guys? And
well, I've known them both a really long time, and I've been Neil and I've been talking about working together forever. We've got an amazing Western. It's like a Cain and Abel story, but it's in the vein of Yellowstone. I mean, it's a violent,
really?
It's Western. Is what the Wild Wild West was, and we're trying to get funding for that right now. Here's the trouble: we do movies in the $4 to $5 million range. That's catering budget in Pirates of the Caribbean. Those are $300 million movies. Whether it's Avatar or Avengers, whatever. They got the big, ever-flowing pot of Hollywood behind them. So how do you compete with that when they have $100 million advertising budget and we're lucky we raise $1 million? We're trying to fight back. I want to do movies that have a positive message. I want movies that people can watch and go, wow, I can relate to that character, or I'm like that person, or I understand that situation. Those are the movies that I fell in love with old Hollywood movies. And that's the kind of movies I'm going to keep on making. I look at Avengers, they're great roller coaster rides. They're 70% visual effects.
Right.
But, I'll never be Hercules in real life. You'll never be Iron Man. I mean, those things, that's all fantasy, which is fine. I want to do movies that have more of a reality bend to them. And that's what I keep doing. I get stopped all the time through airports, hotel lobbies. People say, please make more movies that I can see with my family. And we're trying to get them out there, but we need people's support out there. So again, people got to go to sorbostudios.com and leave us your information. We'll keep you up to date for the movies coming out. And you got to tell the world, you got to be our advertising people for us, because we don't have that big budget to let people know movies out there. Because I get stopped. Hey, I saw that movie, What If? That was great. And I go, yeah, I shot it 10 years ago, but people don't know about it, and
okay. So you just said What If is a better movie?
What If, great movie.
Wow.
John Ratzenberger's in it with me. Christy Swanson's in it. She's fantastic. It's a really, really well done movie. It's directed by Dallas Jenkins, who's doing a little thing called The Chosen right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite a big hit around the world. And Jerry Jenkins, his father, actually funded that movie. Very low budget movie, but it looks like a $10 million film. It's awesome. And Jerry Jenkins, by the way, was the co-author with Tim LaHaye on the Left Behind books. So kind of full circle for me now to do one of Jerry's books. SorboStudios.com.
Well, as I go there, folks, right now, SorboStudios.com. Of course, I've been there before. First time I interviewed you, I gave your whole bio and your history and was so excited to do that. But as I'm on here, Kevin, I'm clicking on the donate button. And folks, I want you to do that. Go to sorbostudios.com and donate. I'm going to do that. And I encourage you to do that as well. Kevin, so many conservatives and patriots and Christians, they spend plenty of money. They're going to spend probably $35 to $65 today alone on a drive-through, or somewhere upwards to $100, on a DoorDash. And I think it's really it's not a matter of the money not being there for them to support your movies. It's a matter of them making a choice to put their dollars in fertile soil and to put their money where their mouth is. We can complain, we can be upset about what's happening and seeing the unlimited money it seems that the left seems to have. But I really believe, folks, that if we really put our minds together, we can make a determination to put money into media that will last. And these movies, Kevin, they last forever. I mean, people, as long as there's an internet, as long as there's a way to play video on demand or to watch broadcast, these movies have eternal value. And so if you go to Sorbo's studio, and of course, folks, click on the donate button, sorbostudios.com, and get behind Kevin Sorbo in what he's doing. There's a scripture, Kevin, that says that we fight the prince of the power of the air. And boy, is that the truth. Through radio, the internet, broadcasts, over the air, streaming, that's how our country, I believe, is where it's at. This confusion, the lies coming out of DC, the racial hatred. The media's not telling you that the activists from DC just happen to be in the Tennessee area. How about that? They're not telling you that the trans resistance group called for killing of Christians. They're not talking about that days before, or that Jane Fonda called for the killing of pro-lifers and conservatives. They're not talking about that. But if the shoe was on the other foot, someone would be arrested, right? Or someone would be sued. But we
Yeah,
know,
good old Jane Fonda. She's a class act. I
oh,
love Ronald Reagan's quote. I found out that everybody who's for abortion has already been born. So I found that a pretty good,
oh, it's so
quote.
true. I mean, but you know what? Not only are you a great actor, director, writer, I know you do plenty of speaking too, but you and Sam, your wife,
Yeah.
you're also advocates for homeschooling. And here we go again. You've been ahead of the game, Kevin, both you and Sam, because with these drag queen pedophile grooming story hours, more and more people are saying, look, I've never really looked into homeschooling before, but now you better believe I'm looking into it. They're not learning anything. They're learning that men
Look,
can
that
have
was
babies.
one of my tweets. I said, there was a time in a day when police officers and firemen would come to talk to kids at grade school. Now
Right.
it's drag queens. I go, look at how weird everything has become and shifted. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, we got to fight in our hands, guys, and we can't be afraid to fight it. And people can't be afraid of the woke culture, the cancel culture. Here's the thing. I would love to do I do a lot of documentaries. I recommend Before the Wrath, really good. Against the Tide. I've got 3 other documentaries coming out. I just got back from Israel doing one there. But I would love to do a documentary on, let's say, Antifa members.
Right.
And they can keep covered up because they're cowards. They don't want to show their faces. They're
Exactly.
complete cowards.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
guarantee you, most of them came from broken homes.
Right.
Most of them they look in the mirror and they hate who they see. They
Right.
probably collect the money from George Soros and probably collect them unemployment from you and me. So they're collectively, they're like a gang member, and all they have is hate and anger. What a horrible way to go through life. I know I got to pray for people like that, but what a horrible way to go through life and have nothing but hate and anger every single day. That's just, I mean, I feel sorry for these people because there's no life in that. There's no happiness in that. And for them to do that all the time, it's just weird. It's just, I don't know what we can do to reach out to them, but I would like to find out who these people are. I would, without no violence. I'm not looking for violence. I'm not looking for attack. But I'll tell you one thing, people on the right and independents, we need to wake up. We got to match the organization that they have on the left. I don't want to match their anger and their hatred and their violence. I want to match their enthusiasm for what they got. We need enthusiasm for America, for the greatness of what this country was, for the greatness of individuals, for the greatness of failure. Failure is a good thing. We all have failed in life. I'm a 13-year overnight success in Hollywood. Okay. I mean, I learned very early in life from very, very successful people that they failed over and over again, but they didn't give up. In today's world, people just give up because we live in a very instant world. If they don't get what they want right away, then it's your fault. It's God's fault, or God they don't believe in. It's everybody's fault but their own. When they got to look in the mirror, there's the problem. Look in the mirror. That's the problem. And you got to find a way to get over the fact that, everything wasn't going to be easy in this world because nobody promised an easy life for you.
I think that fatherlessness is a big part.
A huge problem.
And Kevin, I mean, I've got 40 years of ministry, children's, youth, worship, church planning, pastoring. And you know what? I've never laid down on the truth. Unfortunately, it's not popular. We're so worried about offending. Well, you're not worried about offending. You're worried about losing money, folks. But people need to be reminded of this, that our Constitution, I believe, is no more than sermon notes from the Black Robes, those outlaw preachers that King George wanted dead, the Black Robe Regiment. For 20 years, they preached no king but Christ. For 20 years, they preached freedom and justice and liberty. Sound familiar, folks? So for those who say, oh, the Constitution wasn't rooted in the Bible, au contraire, actually, it was sermon notes from the Black Robes Regiment. And we need the Black Robes again. That, Kevin, that'd actually be a really good movie.
It would be. Find me the funding. Hey, listen. The country is founded on Judeo-Christian values. They can say it wasn't all they want. We get our laws from the Bible, for crying out loud.
Right.
We took the Bible out of school in 1964 and we still give it to prisoners. And look what's happened now. Do you have to believe in God? No, but maybe you can believe in the morality of the Bible. You can believe in the morality of, I think evil people know the difference between right and wrong. Most of them do, unless they're completely insane.
They do.
Most of them know the difference. They know what they're doing is not good. But these are people that have just given up and just said, the heck with it. I'm going to take the world down with me because my life sucks. Well, too bad. Boo-hoo. God didn't promise you an easy life. And he's, by the way, he still loves you. Yeah. Whether you want to be loved by him or believe in him or not. But we live in a time right now where people need, it's a tipping point time right now, and people need to not be afraid anymore. Quit being afraid of the stupid media and people that attack you for your point of view. These guys don't have the balls to approach me in public. I would love them to. And not, once again, not to have a fight about it. Let's have a conversation. But they don't have, they just yell louder than everybody else. That's what they do. They just yell it. But there's nothing behind it but the same phrase over and over again, like I said earlier. So I would like to have a real conversation to see who these people are and why they are the way they are.
You know, rejection breeds anger. And I've known a lot of these types. You know, of course, you know, hey, being offered $200 in a pipe, you know, for one evening to jump on a bus somewhere and to destroy a city when you know that Kamala and Biden will bail you out, you know.
Most of these people don't live in those cities.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
They don't live in those cities. They bust them in.
Yeah, yeah. That's
they
true.
Were during the riots a couple of years ago, they were busting in pallets of rocks and bricks.
Oh yeah, exactly. You know, Kevin, do you think that conservatives are so afraid of breaking the law that the left just makes new laws which they themselves don't even follow and they just let them run amok? Well, I mean, what do you think this is?
We've had immigration laws for hundreds of years, and Biden has let over 5 million people into the country that we know nothing about.
Right.
I laughed when they wouldn't let Dozovec, the #1 tennis player in the world, come to America because he didn't take the vaccine shot. Meanwhile, 5 million people we know nothing about have come across the border. Where are we putting them? How are they going to survive? You don't think there's going to be more crime from those people? Do most of them want to be here because they're hoping for a better life? No question. But I'm sure of that 5 million, we've let in quite a few thousand, if not tens of thousands, that are bad people here to do bad things. But everybody's okay with that, apparently. But don't let Dozovec in. He didn't get the vaccine shot.
Right.
It's like the hypocrisy and the stupidity of what we're doing it's beyond laughable. It's just you just got to bang your head against the wall and say, what is going on?
You know, none of the White House staff was required to take the vax. Did you know that?
No, they didn't. When they got their shots on TV, they just took saline shots.
Oh yeah.
You know they did. It was all
there's a reason why.
Looks good.
Yeah,
they got B12 shots is what they got.
Yeah. And of course, you know, I mean, some thought that the photo op with you know, Sleepy Joe between Jello and ice cream time was definitely a fake shot. But you know what, folks, you know, people know, you know, in your heart of hearts, it's all a bunch of bull. So in times like these, what can you do? Well, you got to look up and you got to put your trust in God. You can't trust the mainstream media. You can't trust a word they say. You definitely can't trust Facet Book, you know, which was, you know, a CIA dream. People give away more details than they can ever, you know, get from an interrogation, you know. But we got to come together. We are stronger together. We are the majority. We're not the minority. You know, it's amazing, Kevin. I mean, even how many conservatives believe they're the minority in this country? They're not the minority in this country.
No, they're not.
You know, even on a racial thing, I've worked with all races my whole life, but it's interesting that people don't even know that the white population is still the majority. The media has lied to them.
Oh, if you do a map of America, the majority, like 90, more than 9% is red.
Right.
It's like really 6 major cities, whether Chicago, New York, San Francisco, LA, that control everything that happens in this country.
Right.
And I don't know. We need to do. If we want to split up the United States, I've got some good ideas for that. We'll see how long that those blue states last. If we split up America the way I'd like to split up in a peaceful way, but we split it up. You guys are on your own, and we'll be on our own. We'll see who is successful. Come see us in about 5 years, and we'll see where we all stand.
Oh, or just come to Texas, Kevin. Texas.
Yeah. Well, why do you think 1,000 people a day are moving to Texas, Florida, where I live, Tennessee, and California's lost 5 million people over the last 10 years? 5 million. Why do you think they're leaving, folks? The trouble is half those people go to these other states and vote the same way because they're idiots.
Right.
Or it's on purpose. I don't know.
Well, you never know. You know, you never know. You know,
it could be on plan. It could be planned. Anyway, I got to run, buddy. I go.
Well, I tell you what, Kevin, so great to see you. Everyone, get that Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist. Kevin, we need to do a call-in show sometime and also raise some funds for your movies. So God bless you, my
All right.
friend. It's good seeing you. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll be in radio contact. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Brent.
Always. See you, man. Bye-bye.
Take care.
This is a new piece of mine. It's the train.
Whoa, I love it.
This is a new one that is right outside of Big Springs area, and it's just a beautiful day. We were driving in from Dallas, and I was with one of my sons, my middle son, Alex, and we ended up deciding to pull over, and of course there's a rig out there that's just on a plateau, and it's just beautiful. And I love the trains. Trains are a lot of fun. I have a lot of good memories of my great-grandparents or my great-grandmother. And when I was little, I would go out and play on the train tracks. It's not probably the best thing to do, but
wow.
We would go out there and put pennies on there, and then you'd get those whistles. I don't know if you ever played on train tracks, but you could get these whistles that they would, I don't know how come, but anyways, we would stick them in our mouth, and of course you'd get lockjaw from the rust and all that stuff. But boy, we blew whistles out of those, and it was a lot of fun.
It's nice to see a train that's not derailed.
This is true.
And a beautiful piece at that. All the colors in there, man.
Oh, I tell you, our West Texas skies are just beautiful.
I love it.
And that's why we had to pull over, because the sky was just gorgeous, and it's just perfect timing right there by the drilling rig. And then we look over there, and there's a locomotive over there as well. It just was a lot of fun.
Just another beautiful piece of West Texas.
It is. West Texas is just gorgeous. And hopefully you feel some different types of things that are in the piece, as far as like maybe a little bit of my grandma and my
look at this.
son and
yeah, some of the hills
and my dad.
There you go. Yeah, wow, very special. What a moment.
Hey friends, this is Brent. Years ago, I discovered a secret that enabled me to navigate this reality, to live a fearless life, free from anxiety, where nothing was impossible for me. That's how I live, and that's what I want for you. If you want to have a fearless life, free of anxiety, to live in joy and success and fulfillment, walking out your destiny and living out your purpose, you got a better chance of doing that if you read The Red Pill Prophet on Amazon.com. Get it in your hands, The Truth of the Red Pill Prophet on Amazon.com.